Hey, what's going on guys? I'm Derpy Dog and welcome back to another Minecraft video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how to farm all the farmable plants in the overworld, except trees because all you need to do for those is just place down a tree sapling anywhere you want a tree. Just a few notes before we begin. All the farms I describe in this video are the basic forms of these farms, so they require only the basic materials and will require no redstone whatsoever. They are all manual farms. So the first farm we're going to be going over is for wheat, carrots, potatoes, and beetroot. So wheat you can get from seeds, which is found by mining grass or just breaking grass in the overworld. Carrots and potatoes can be dropped from zombies and be found in chests. And beetroot can only be found in chests in structures. It cannot be found naturally growing in the overworld, but all four can be found growing in village farms. So to make this farm the most efficient it can possibly be, we're going to need to saturate the hoed soil. So how we do that is we place a single water source block at the center of our farm. And then we're going to go out 4 blocks away from the source block. And this is where we're going to place some of our fence posts where we're going to outline the farm to show where the saturated soil can be. Anything inside these wooden slabs will become saturated soil. So next we're going to be connecting these 4 fence posts that we've created to create our outer fence. Something you are going to need to do is place a fence gate, but because I'm in creative I didn't need to because I can just fly back out. But if you are playing in survival you will need to have easy access to your farm. So after our outer fence is built, we're going to remove our guide half slabs. And after we remove our guide half slabs, we're going to do something that's going to prevent our crops from being jumped on by us. So we're going to cover up this water hole, and how we're going to do it is we're going to place a half slab on the top of the water block. This is going to waterlog the half slab. So the water source is still there, but now there's a half slab in the water source so that you won't jump into the water and then have to jump back out and trample your soil so it becomes regular dirt. And then after we've done that, it's pretty straightforward to the end. You just hoe whatever dirt is left inside your outer fence, and then you go ahead and plant your wheat, carrots, beetroot, whatever you want to plant. For reference, this is what the crops look like when they are fully matured and ready to harvest, with wheat on the left, then beetroot, then carrots, then finally potatoes all the way on the right. So the next farm we're going to cover is a melon or pumpkin farm, and how you find melon or pumpkin seeds is you craft them from naturally spawning melons and pumpkins that you will find while roaming the overworld. The reason that I made this a different category from the wheat and other things is because melons and pumpkins have a different style of growing, where they will grow vines on hoed dirt, but the actual plant grows off of the hoed dirt onto an adjacent block, meaning a block that is directly next to the block where the vine is. Because of this, instead of doing a 9x9 square with only 1 block of water in the middle, we will be doing 3 rows of water with 4 rows of vines and 4 rows of area where the plants can grow. Even though we will have a different method of protecting the hoed dirt so it doesn't get trampled, I would still recommend putting half slabs in the water. It just makes it easier to traverse around the farm without having to jump in water and jump back out. I would, however, still recommend the fence though, because like that little pig in the background shows, smaller mobs can get into this farm and still trample the dirt, even with the protection method we're going to use. So definitely make sure to block up the area so that none of these small pigs can get in. After you finish the fence, you're ready to start hoeing the dirt. So the way we're going to do it for this farm is you're going to do 1 line directly next to each side of the water streams. So that way your hoed areas are directly next to the water streams and will most definitely be saturated if you do it this way. Once you have your dirt hoed, you're ready to start placing seeds. For this example, I've used pumpkin seeds on the right side and melon seeds on the left side. Once you've finished placing all your seeds, you're going to want to go to the back of your farm and place one block on the edge of your fence directly next to each one of your hoed areas. Then out from that block, you're going to place slabs so they're on the block above where their seeds are placed so that nothing can jump onto your seeds, including you. Now in the background footage, you're going to see me breaking holes in my fence, but this is because of poor planning, and I would just recommend that you put fence gates here so you have easy access to your harvesting areas. Once you finish that, just go to the back of your farm, delete your guide blocks, and your farm is fully finished. The vines themselves do take a long time to grow, but once they've finished growing, you don't need to do any more upkeep on this farm. You can just come by and harvest the melons and pumpkins every once in a while, and the vines will continue to produce them. For reference, these are what the fully grown vines look like. They look exactly the same for both plants, as in this picture, melons are on the left and pumpkins are on the right, even though they look exactly the same. Up next, we have cacao bean farms. Cacao beans are found growing naturally on jungle wood trees, and they are farmed exactly as you find them. All you need is some jungle wood, and then you place cacao beans up against the jungle wood, and eventually they will grow. For reference, this is what cacao beans look like when they are fully grown. Up next, we have what I think is probably the slowest farm in the game, mushroom farms. So what you need for mushroom farms are low light environments. So that means you're probably going to be best off building these inside of a cave with no actual daylight access. Both red and brown mushrooms are farmed the exact same way and can be found pretty much anywhere in the overworld, from caves to dead trees on the surface, swamp biomes, chests. They can be found pretty much anywhere. All you need to do is dig a 3x3 area that is 2 blocks tall, and then above the middle block, dig out a single block of the ceiling and place a torch inside of it. This provides the area with the perfect light level to prevent monsters from spawning, but also to be just dark enough to allow the mushrooms to spread. And I would actually recommend combining these farms for a greater output. I'm sure most of you noticed that I have jungle logs situated under the central mushrooms of each farm, and that is because it makes it easier to replant the farm once you actually harvest. But by no means are these logs necessary. You could just keep it stone throughout the area if you think that looks better or you don't need the guide. But like I said at the beginning for this farm is extremely slow. This is a picture of the farm after about an hour. So it really does not make very quick progress. It will be a very slow farm. Up next we have the sugarcane farm, which is thankfully much faster than the previous mushroom farm. Sugarcane is found pretty much anywhere where there's bodies of water. So it grows right next to the beds of rivers, right next to oceans, right next to swamps, etc. But the weird thing about growing sugarcane is that it must be placed directly next to a block of water. So that means if you destroy the block of water or move it somehow, the sugarcane will immediately be broken. That's why for this farm, I'll be using a lot more water streams than I have used for the previous farms. The nice thing about having a sugarcane farm is that it requires absolutely no hoed dirt. So that means that you don't really have to worry about an outside fence. I would, however, continue to use the half slab in the water method because it makes the farm a lot easier to walk through and harvest all your sugarcane. But once you've done that, you can go ahead and place all your sugarcane down right next to those wooden panels and you will be all good to go. For reference, sugarcane grows up to a maximum height of 3 blocks, so once most of your crops start getting there, I would harvest. Up next, we have bamboo farming, which is debatably even easier than tree farming. Basically, you just get bamboo from a jungle area and place it down and then wait for it to grow. You can cut it off at the half so your plant stays there so it can continue to grow, or you can cut it down entirely and replant the sapling. It really doesn't matter. You just let it grow and it will grow very quickly. Next up, we've got cactus farming, which I'm going to be honest, really isn't super useful as of the most recent update. Cactus can only be used to make green dye, or it could be used for defenses, but it also sometimes is used as a trash can because when you throw items onto cactus, they are deleted from the game. But despite it not having a ton of uses, I decided to go ahead and still put it in the video just because it is a farmable item. Cactus is found naturally spawning in deserts and can only be placed on a type of sand, whether that be red sand or basic sand. The only thing that's weird about Cactus, other than that it deletes items, is that it cannot be placed directly next to other blocks. So that means if you place a block next to Cactus, the Cactus will be broken and drop as an item. So that is why in this farm, you need to space out your Cactus blocks by 1 block each time. Cactus is also not affected by bone meal, so you just have to be patient with this farm. As a final note, Cactus does also grow up to 3 blocks like sugarcane, but unlike sugarcane, I would not recommend mining out the middle block or breaking the middle block when harvesting, because when you break it with sugarcane, it just allows the sugarcane to continue to grow without having to do the replanting step. But with Cactus, because it has the item deleting property, it can very easily delete the top 2 blocks of Cactus as they fall, instead of allowing them to drop. The second to last farm in this video is going to be a kelp farm. So kelp is found in deep ocean biomes and is very plentiful there. If possible, if you have a large body of water next to you, doesn't even have to be an ocean, I would highly recommend planting your kelp in there and letting it grow as if it were bamboo. But if not, if you do not have any water source nearby, I would recommend using the farm that I'm displaying on screen, but only as a last resort. Placing water and making a tank can be very frustrating, as water is very confusing in Minecraft, and it's just not worth the time if you have a nearby large body of water. But if you don't, then I would go ahead and build some sort of a tank, some sort of large container that can hold a lot of water and has decent height. It doesn't need to have a ton of floor space, but it needs to have a decent amount of height. This is going to allow the kelp to grow up a lot, so you get a lot more from each harvest. But eventually, once you get your tank all set up and filled with water, you're going to want to just cover the floor with kelp. And this is going to allow the kelp to start to grow and just allow it to grow like bamboo. Once it hits the top of your container, I'd go ahead and harvest and replant. The last farm in this video is going to be a vine farm. Vines can be used to create the mossy variants of cobblestone and stone bricks, but they are mainly used for decoration, as they can add a pretty cool touch to any builds that you are trying to make look more ancient or overgrown. In the overworld, vines spawn naturally on trees or sometimes on mountains, but mostly on trees. Vines are super easy to grow. Basically, you just place one on a wall and let it spread, but the only thing you need to worry about with vines are you can only collect vines with shears or a silk touch tool, but shears are the much easier option. So if you break it with your hands or a pickaxe or an axe, you will not get anything. But if you use shears, you will be able to collect the vines. Once your vines have spread to cover a large enough portion of the wall, you should go ahead and harvest them. And that's it. Those are all the farms I have for this video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. But with that being said, if you did enjoy or you learned something new, make sure to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.